But there's this what we call the Michigan Mafia, and there's this culture of individuals who come into the sector being roped in and embraced by everybody and say, you need to be part of this. You need to be part of it. Here's what it looks like. And I think when you look at how leadership has been grown and how expectations of people's disposition towards servant leadership has grown, it's because there is this network of people who have constantly, brought others in, but said, you're part of this community now, and this is what it looks like, and here's how you operate, and here's how you do things. And it's not exclusive, it's always wider arms around other people and organizations, but it is, overlapping. So you'll see many of my board members serving on board members of what some people would consider competing organizations. And I say, no, they're collaborating organizations. And you'll see, executive directors of one organization popping over to an executive or director of another organization with similar missions and similar operations, and everybody's fine with it and think, oh, that's a great move. That's absolutely, hopefully they can take some of the magic they had over here and bring it over here. And so we don't look at, in Michigan, I don't think we look at collaboration as a bad thing. We don't look at overlapping leadership as a bad thing. And we don't look at people working together in different ways as a bad thing. We see all those as good attributes. And I think that goes to explaining how we end up with a lot of overlapping board members, overlapping staff and directors. And I don't think that it's choreographed. Strangely enough, it's not a map that everybody says, well, we're going to move so-and-so here and we're going to move so-and-so here so that there's, these two organizations aren't going to compete against each other and all that. It's really more organic than that. And it's also not there's only 10 people in the world making all the decisions. It is a map of people saying, here's what our community is, and how do we bring more people into that? And sometimes people get that, and sometimes people don't. I'll tell you, if you really want to see it in action, try to bring somebody in from maybe the East or West Coast who's served in a large philanthropic institution or a large nonprofit and plant them in the center of one of Michigan's institutions in the nonprofit sector, and they'll tell you, this is really hard to get used to. I really don't quite understand how we operate because I'm a leader and I got to put my fist down and I got to say this is our way forward and you all come along or you're left in a heap, and they don't make it very long. And we end up changing more leaders than most states, I think, because of that collaborative work environment. And we say you can just see it. You'll bring somebody in, you say they're not going to make it. They don't quite get collaboration. They don't quite get the innovative entrepreneurial spirit that we're a part of. So we got to figure out how to help them. And I think 60% of them make it, and 40% of them say, I can't figure out how this environment works. And so you see a lot more of that, over time, because Michigan becomes ground zero to teach philanthropy, and the Johnson Center's been at the center of that. And so there's great opportunity here to think about how you grow the next generation of philanthropic leaders globally. And it's fortunate that it's planted here in Michigan, but it's tough, and it's tough to understand the lay of the land. A couple times I've had meetings with people who say, just help me understand how you're dealing with these overlapping interests. We're right now. I mentioned that we started a nonprofit center, a partnership of nonprofits that normally don't work together, let alone cohabitate. And now we're fundraising together. And it took 3 years to put that together. And I can remember people saying to me, you are going to move, right? You are going to do this, right? This is going to happen, right? And I said, yeah, it's going to happen. Well, it's been 2 years. When do you think you're going to get around to this? And I said, it's going to happen. You got to have patience. It's going to happen. So 3 years later, we're doing it. And it takes time and takes patience. It's when you're dealing with culture, which is what this is all about, you have to work with people at a very different level than when you start working at the policy level, where people are saying, yeah, this is how we'll collaborate and I'll sign off on that. The paper is only as good as, where that can take you. It's the real relationship-based work that gets to the culture work, that gets to the enduring work. That it's exciting for me and what I've seen. So I think that kind of gets to why there are these overlapping, interests and membership on these organizations, because of the culture.